We started last Friday talking about blacks in the Bible. I won't go to these slides, but I'm going to do a quick recap in the few minutes I have left before our break, and then we'll start with new material when we come off of the break. Last week, we did a setup. We talked about several views on the presence of black people in the Bible. We talked about the pre-Adamite view, where it says basically that we as African people, people of African descent, are not descended from Adam, but we were descended from Cain, and Cain found his wife who existed before Adam. So the bottom line is Cain couldn't find one of the young women his age, but Cain had to reach past his daddy's age and had to go and get a grandmama to be his wife and to populate the earth with black folk. And a lot of churches of other or a few churches of other persuasions used to teach this. I believe that some of those who want to wear those white hoods and those white sheets, they teach this. They teach that we are not human, but that we are subhuman. But then when you start to look at Scripture, Scripture does not teach that there was a woman, there was a man before Adam. So people using the Bible, saying that this is in the Bible, is not true. They are guilty of what we would call in seminary eisegesis instead of exegesis, when that means you get in the text, you pull it apart, you try to see what's there. They're guilty of eisegesis. They take a text and they make the text say what they want it to say. I'm going to give you an example of that. James, you know that text we like to quote, if you ask not, you have not because you ask not. And you know how people like to quote that? But see, they leave out the next verse where it says, and when you ask for selfish desires so that your lust may be fulfilled. They don't talk about that part. They just lift the first part out, take it out of context, and make it suit their purposes. That's eisegesis. And so, be clear, that pre-Adamite view doesn't work. Second view was that Cain was born white. But then when Cain killed his brother Abel, the Lord marked him with blackness, and all of his descendants since were marked with blackness. Now, this is where exegesis comes in. It's not difficult, y'all, not with this. You just have to go back and read Genesis chapter 4. When you look at Genesis chapter 4, somewhere around the 14th verse, Cain says, because I've killed my brother, others are going to try to kill me. And so I'll be a wanted man in the earth. God said, I'll fix it. I'll put a mark on you so that anyone who sees you will not kill you. Now, first of all, even before we go there, the original man had a permanent tan. The word Adam, gives reference to the ground in the original text. So I've never seen white ground. If you see white ground, it's an anomaly. The ground, the earth, is normally either ruddy in color or it's brown in color. And sometimes it's deep brown, like this deep brown. It's deep brown in color. So the original man looked like you, looked like me. So to say that God all of a sudden made the original man, who was already a black man, black, that's crazy. And the text does not substantiate that. The bottom line is that God put the mark on Cain. It was an individual mark on him so that he wouldn't be killed. It was not generational. It was occasional. It was just for him. But now we get to the next view, dealing with Noah. We talked about Noah. Noah got drunk. And to pretend like I'm Brother Harper, Dr. Harper, who was on before me, he probably got stressed by dealing with 140 years of doing God's work. God told him to build the ark, took him 100 years, went through all kind of ridicule, had to round up the animals, had to put them on the ark. The ark was floating 40 days and 40 nights. Went through all of that. I said 140 years, really 100 years, and then 40 days and 40 nights. But the bottom line is, after all of that, he was stressed. He made himself a vineyard, and he proceeded to get drunk. Now, Bible doesn't talk against drinking, and I know some of you might disagree with that, but the Bible takes issue with getting drunk, although in many places in Scripture, it shows the depravity of man as an example of how we really are. It's like looking in the mirror. And so here we're looking in the mirror at Noah. Noah was so drunk, he didn't realize that he was covered up by his two boys until after he woke up and found out the information. And then he found out that Ham saw him naked, and instead of Ham doing something about it, Ham went and told his two brothers. The Bible doesn't tell us whether he told somebody else, but the bottom line is Noah was drunk, Noah was naked, and it was a disgrace when you look at the ancient mind to see a parent like that and not address it and keep it quiet. So basically what Noah did, Noah probably observing Canaan from a distance, because recognized that Ham had several other children other than Canaan, he said, "Cursed be Canaan." So bottom line is, God didn't curse him, Noah cursed him. And the bottom line of what Noah was saying is, Canaan just going to be like his low-down daddy Ham. Ham should have covered me up. Ham should not have dealt with me in this way. My other two boys covered me up. They're blessed. Ham is low down. Canaan's going to be just like Ham. And also what we covered is Canaan was just one of the sons of Ham, one of the grandsons of Noah. There were others, and they were black, and they weren't cursed. Cush, Mizraim, Put, all were black. Mizraim, Egypt, Cush, Ethiopia, Put, Libya. And then Canaan were the Phoenicians and all of the other peoples in that area. So we dealt with that. Then we dealt with this other issue where it says that all the Hamites were white rather than black, with the possible exception of Cush. And they said that even Cush was probably a Caucasoid black. I don't know what that is. How can you be a Caucasoid black? But we're going to get into this today. Most people in antiquity were not identified by race, but they were identified by nation. So basically, we concluded last week by saying that the Adamic or Adamite view is the common Jewish, Christian, and Islamic one. And we quoted from Acts 17:26, which says that from one man he made every nation of men, that they should inhabit the whole earth. And he determined the time set for them and the exact places where they should live. So that's what we covered last Friday. We didn't give you the slides because there are some of you who saw last Friday's show, so we're doing a recap for those of you who weren't here. We had several persons call the station. They weren't able to watch the show on Friday. They missed the material, and so I wanted to bring the material back, although without the slides, so you can catch up to the rest of us. So that's what we talked about last week. Now, when we come off a break, we're going to talk about the Table of Nations. We're going to open that up and have full discussion around it. Thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and call your friends and neighbors. Go ahead and take that short break. Some of you like to nibble when you watch television. Go ahead and get that snack. You got about 3-4 minutes. Go handle your business. We'll be back soon. We're getting ready to go to break. This is Black Thought, and I am your host, Dr. Hutchinson.